Hello kiddos, this is Shaz and you're in the series of educational board games explanation. And here we have Dr. Microbe, which is a scientific game, I would say, or a laboratory and related to chemistry. And we are here with microbes inside of it. So we'll just go ahead and get to know more about it. This game particularly is for ages above 8. That means 8+ child can actually go ahead with Dr. Microbe. So we just dive into it and know more about it. So we will just find our instructional panel first. This particular game is designed technically by Roberto Fraga, and the visual designing is done by Stefan. So the components are 49 microbes, 54 research cards, 4 of the tweezers, 4 sectioned petri dishes, 1 large petri dish, and 1 illustrated rules. When we go to the introduction, would you like to pretend you are a lab assistant? Oh, it's lovely. So then grab your tweezers, be the fastest to identify the microbes on the research card and to eliminate them with the antidote. Research objective. So they have already customized all the vocabulary according to our game. Race to be the first scientist to impress Dr. Microbe by completing the research card correctly. In order to do so, players must select the correct microbes and place them in the petri dish by matching the research card and following the research rules. The first player who directly completes 5 research cards wins the game. Lab prep. Place a large petri dish filled with all of the microbes in the middle of all players. Keep the purple virus aside unless playing variation 1 or 3. So, if suppose this is to be played in between 2 or 4 players, we will just try to adjust this in a way that biggest petri dish is in the middle in reach to every player. And if suppose there are 4 of the players, then we'll just adjust this in a way that 4 players are gonna play. Now that we have all set, our lab preparation is done. So in the microbes there is a purple virus, a teeny tiny purple virus, which actually looks very cute. But then we should just keep in mind that it is a virus and keep it aside for a while until and unless we are playing variation 1 or 3. Shuffle the research cards and place them face down in a pile next to the largest petri dish. Each player takes 1 section petri dish and 1 pair of tweezers as their lab equipment. So your equipment of this lab is a petri dish which is sectioned and a tweezers. Now, the 3 smaller sections of a player's petri dish are used to isolate 3 microbes. The large section is used to isolate a special microbe called the antidote. As you can see in here, 3 are for microbes and then 1 is for antidote. Research rules. When all players are ready, the top card is turned over. Using their tweezers, players must race to complete the research card by picking the correct microbe 1 by 1. So if this is the card and all the players are having their tweezers and they're just rushing or racing to collect the same kind of microbes. So this would be in the largest area of your petri dish, and this here would be in this one. So anyone who completes that first is actually going on the same pace which is required for this game. So yeah, microbes 1 by 1 from the large petri dish and putting them into their own dish. The microbes visible on the research card must be picked and placed correctly in the petri dish. to match the research card. As you can see, I have exactly done the same kind of, as you can see here, I have exactly placed the S looking green color microbe in the largest area, as you can see, and okay, a candy looking like red color microbe again in the lowest left side section of my petri dish. That's how we should begin it. The microbe missing on the research card must be found, picked and placed on the petri dish so that the following rules always apply. The antidote must always be a different shape and color than the other 3 microbes. It must be isolated in the largest section of the player's petri dish. Okay, the second rule is that the 3 microbes need to differ in shape and color from the antidote. 2 microbes will be the same color, but all should differ in shape. No shape may be repeated in a player's petri dish. When players feel that they have completed their research correctly, they stop and yell, "Got that antidote." So they just stop and yell, "Got that antidote." All other players must immediately stop and put down their tweezers. They now carefully check the first player's petri dish to see if it is correct. If all players agree the research is completed correctly, the first player scores the research card as a point. If not, the player loses one of their cards by placing it under the stack of the cards. If at all I lose. In a hurry, it often happens that I may choose the wrong microbe and end up with not the same results as the card. So if that happens, then what I do is, when I lose, I just place the card under the stack of cards and I do not get to play until the next card is played. Note, there may be more than one correct answer. Important. If a microbe falls on the table, the player who dropped it must pick it up immediately. It may not remain on the table. Players cannot steal microbes from their opponent's petri dish. Players cannot add microbes into their opponent's dishes unless playing variation 2 or 3. We'll get to know what the variations are further in the instruction. Players must always use their tweezers to pick microbes, antidotes, and the purple virus. So now, after seeing this picture, you would understand what I have been reading out, which is first, if suppose this is the card we are supposed to be matching our results with, then we would come up with something like this. So you see a blue microbe in there, a red one, and a red with S shape. So match the research card, find the missing microbe, okay? So you should first match your dish with the card and then search for the missing microbe. Alright, so when we are searching for the missing microbe, the rules will first say that it shouldn't be of the same color as the microbe in the largest area of your petri dish, and also not in the same shape. So this result would be the correct answer. This wouldn't be, as the shape of green and red is the same. And also here, when the shape is different but the color of the microbe is actually the same of the antidote, so that would also be wrong there. End of the game, the first player to score 5 points wins the game. So yes, to explain you further, with a different card, I would choose a card here, flip it over. Now very quickly I'll take these microbes and settle them whereas it's shown in the card. Now here I have to find 1 and 2. Alright, so the shape and color which will be here should never match these both shape and color. This is how it is played now. So the color and shape of microbe here should not match the color and shape of these 3 sections, and then only you would come up with another variation. And this is how the results must be. Color and shape of the antidote here. So basically the largest section would hold your antidote, and these 3 sections will hold your microbes. So what the result should be that this particular shape and color should not be repeated in these 3 sections, and then only you will actually win a card. So I won the card, and when we just play another card, I'll come here and I'll show it in here. So our antidote is red color and with a shape of candy, and so now in this area I should fill something which is not in shape of the same antidote and also not in the same color as red. If I put this one, I'd actually lose the card, and I have to place it under the pile of cards, and I cannot win the card. So I shouldn't do this, and rather pick up something which shape in color is different from the antidote. So that is how it is played, and this card is owned by this player. Now we come to the variations. First variation is the purple virus. At the beginning of the game, the purple virus is placed in the large petri dish. During the game, players can pass the virus to the neighbor on their left. When a round ends, the player with the purple virus must give up a card to the winner. First of all, in the beginning of the game, the purple virus stays in the largest petri dish, which is here. So it stays in here. But then once the game begins, the first thing that they have to do is the youngest player would actually pass the virus on the left of his side to anyone. And then this person, until the other round begins, should give one card of his to the person who won that particular round. A player may not yell, "Got the antidote," when the purple virus is in their dish. Okay, so the player cannot actually shout while the virus is in his dish. Shout what? "Got the antidote." When the purple virus is in their dish, 3 or more players recommend it. So in this particular variation, which is the first one, 2 and 3 or more of the teams are required for this. Okay, the second variation is sabotage. Players may add microbes to their opponent's dishes in an attempt to sabotage their research efforts. Sad. Okay. However, players may not steal microbes from their opponents. So the sabotage variation is that players may add microbes to their opponent's dishes in an attempt to sabotage their research efforts. So the variation 2, sabotage. Okay, the spelling of it is S-A-B-O-T-A-G-E. So meaning of sabotage is that destroy someone's affairs, or destroy basically. So now in this game, what sabotage actually is, players may add microbes to their opponent's dishes in an attempt to sabotage their research efforts, just to destroy the kind of efforts they have made to complete the research. The other opponent would actually destroy your efforts if at all this variation is played by adding one of their microbes to your dish. Players get rid of any unwanted microbes by placing them back into the large petri dish using their tweezers. So if there at all comes a situation where you do not need a particular microbe, you'd actually pass it on in the largest dish here, but with the tweezers, not just that. You have to go with your tweezers, one by one, like that. Variation 3, combination. The game is played with the 2 variations above. Okay. Okay, so it's nothing much that you have to actually introduce both of these variation at once while you're playing the game. So that is how the combination third part of variation is. And that's pretty much about Dr. Microbe. I hope you like it and you're eager to buy it, as it is an interesting game where you can pretend to be a scientist or a lab assistant of your Dr. Microbe and help him achieve his desired research results. If at all you're interested in the game Dr. Microbe, you would actually want to go ahead and buy it online, and our presence is all over the earth. So whenever you find a chance, just grab one of these. Thank you so much for watching the video.